Revealing Schizophrenia by Stephanie Staggs. In my 8th grade class, we watched a movie called Sybil. It was about a young lady with schizophrenia. While everyone in the class laughed and made jokes, I had a deeper revelation. She was my grandma. At the time, my grandmother was not diagnosed with schizophrenia, but I was eager to find out if this is what she had had. I learned more about it, and I told my mom that I felt that that's what she had. A few years had passed, and I was in the 11th grade, and a movie had come out. Do you remember A Beautiful Mind? Well, that movie is about a man that had schizophrenia. Me and my grandmother went to go see it, and by the end of the movie, she had looked at me and said, "Stephanie, this is me." My mom took me a little bit more serious as I was older. My grandmother went to be evaluated, and she was indeed schizophrenic. The point of me telling my story is that schizophrenia is not a joke or funny. You might be surprised who might have it. So what is schizophrenia? Schizophrenia, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, is a mental disorder that affects how you think, feel, and behave. It can make a person seem like they have lost touch with reality. It is not common as other mental disorders, but it can be very disabling. I can remember numerous times my grandmother was in a reality where she felt the mafia was chasing her. The symptoms of schizophrenia are breaking down into 3 categories by the National Institute of Mental Health. The first is positive. They include hallucinations, delusions, thought disorders, which is unusual or dysfunctional ways of thinking, and movement disorders, which means that they move their bodies in an agitated manner. The second category is negative symptoms. They include the flat effect, which is reduced expression of emotion with facial expressions, voice tone. They also have reduced feelings of pleasure in everyday life, difficulty beginning and sustaining activities, and reduced speaking. The third category is cognitive, and it includes poor executive functioning, which means the ability to understand information used to make decisions. They have trouble focusing or paying attention, and problems with working memory, which means the ability to use the information immediately after learning it. While the Mayo Clinic states that there is no known cause of it, they do believe that it is a combination of genetics and environmental circumstances that develop it. By environmental, they are meaning lots of stressful situations, exposure to viruses, malnutrition before birth, and problems during birth, and psychosocial factors. There are 3 types a person can get treated for schizophrenia. One is through antipsychotics, which is medication taken daily in a pill or liquid form. They also have some injections that are given once or twice a month. The second is a psychosocial treatment, which is learning and using coping skills to help with everyday life, that is, after the right medication is found. This helps people pursue their goals like going to work, school, or other events. The third treatment is Coordinated Specialty Care, CSC. It involves medication, psychosocial treatment, case management, family involvement, and supported education and employment services. This is to give them the tools and support so they can have an everyday life. The importance of getting treatment is extreme. Without treatment, a person can suffer from several of these symptoms: suicide, any type of self-injury, anxiety and phobias, depression, abuse of alcohol, drugs, or prescription medications, poverty, homelessness, family conflicts, the inability to work or attend school, social isolation, health problems, including those associated with antipsychotic medications, smoking and poor lifestyle choices, being a victim of aggressive behavior, although it's uncommon, and it typically is related to the lack of treatment substance misuse, or a history of violence. Coping and support. People who have schizophrenia need lots of encouragement and support groups. This doesn't only affect the individual, but it's very difficult on the family as well. The family would need to remember that it is a real disease and that it's real to them, no matter how bad the situation may get. Always be respectful and supportive, and kind without tolerating inappropriate behaviors, of course. With my grandma being diagnosed with schizophrenia, this has taken a huge toll on our family. We don't get the normal relationships that most get with their loved ones. My mom and uncles do not have a normal mom and never have had a normal childhood growing up. My sister and I don't have the stories that you might have with your grandmother. All of our stories are a lot different. They include my grandmother believing that we have had several abortions each, that we have had our children, and that the mafia was trying to steal our babies. My mother has stories of my grandmother that would chase her around the house trying to force her to take pills to save her. None of these things are real, but they are real to her. Schizophrenia is not a joke, and it's not something to make fun of. It's heartbreaking and real. I wanted to share the seriousness of schizophrenia and its symptoms and how to cope with it, so that way now you might have a little bit more to be able to help someone around you. If you haven't seen the movie A Beautiful Mind, please go and watch it. It's a movie that changed our lives. Thank you. A special thanks to my references, the Mayo Clinic and a National Institute of Mental Health. Thank you.